Welcome everyone, it's Claire here today. Today we're going to be actually talking about toxic positivity. So I want to go over what this means, what are some examples of toxic positivity, and what you should be doing instead, and also how it relates to spirituality and spiritual growth. So I've been doing a lot of research on unhealthy relationships, toxic behaviors, and this term of toxic positivity popped up. So basically, to define toxic positivity, we have a quote by Right as Rain, UW Medicine, saying that toxic positivity is dismissing your negative emotions and responding to distress with false reassurances rather than empathy. Another quote here by Dr. Susan David is that toxic positivity is forced, false positivity. When you share something difficult with someone and they insist that you turn it into a positive, what they're really saying is, my comfort is more important than your reality. So based on my research and my experience, toxic positivity is when you repress or ignore your negative emotions because you think that they're bad, or you think they're wrong, or they are uncomfortable to you, or you've been taught to deny and suppress them. And you force yourself to be positive no matter what, because you think that is the only way to be spiritual. That's the only way. You have to be love, love, love all the time. No boundaries, no anger, no nothing. You just have to accept and be loving and allow life to come at you, and whatever comes at you, love, love, love. And that's really unrealistic. With toxic positivity, again, we're talking about denial of emotions. You know, there are a lot of people who get into this trap of thinking that you have to be positive all the time in order to be spiritual. I will admit right now that you can look back on some of my videos from last year and I was really in that zone. I felt like you have to be positive at all times, dismiss all of your negative emotions, ignore negativity, and just kind of make everything great, happy all the time, even if you're not feeling it. Something that, again, I've dealt with my whole life is denial of my emotions to make certain people comfortable so that they wouldn't have to deal with my anger or my grief or complaining, because they wanted things on their terms and they wanted things to be easy for them. So you can't have a complaining or angry child or angry relationship dynamic, because that would force you to face what it is that you could be doing wrong, or that maybe you're causing anger or causing pain in another person's life. So a lot of times it can be a lot easier to just say, you know what, good vibes only. You're not allowed to be negative here. You're not allowed to say that you're angry or complain about anything, because that is bothering me and I don't like it. It's inconvenient to me. And so I won't say that this is only for toxic people who use toxic positivity. No, this could be anyone. We all have our habits. We all have been grown up in a certain way. And sometimes we are influenced by our parents or people in our lives, and we just adopt their habits. So you don't have to feel bad or feel that you are suddenly a toxic person just because you have some of the behaviors or characteristics that I talk about on my channel. This is just for you to become more aware and for you to point that out in yourself and in others so that you can avoid these traps. Number one is you have to do your shadow work first in order to heal from the childhood trauma and the childhood pain that you have dealt with. And so if you go into this spiritual journey or your growth journey thinking that you have to be positive all the time and that you're not allowed to be angry or upset or feel negative emotions, you're basically cutting yourself off from your human experience, not allowing yourself to be fully human and fully present in each moment, feeling the way that you feel or reacting to things the way that is coming natural to you. And so you deny certain emotions in order to make yourself or others comfortable in the moment. You're suppressing the deep, dark emotions and the inner work that you have to do in order to grow. So that's number one. The second thing is, in every moment, day to day, you are going to be triggered in a certain ways, and you can either deny and suppress that, or you can allow it to come up inside of you and just accept yourself for whatever it is you're feeling. And that's going to really bring a wholehearted acceptance of who you are in general and allow you to dig deeper into these emotions. So in other words, you really don't want to deny your emotions or run away from them, because there is a lot of wisdom and growth that comes from facing those difficult emotions and really digging into them that you will never get if you run away and pretend that you have to be positive all the time. So what does that mean for your spiritual journey? Basically, that means that you should accept yourself, accept what you're going through, and accept your emotions as they come up, and do that shadow work, do the inner work to heal yourself instead of running away from it. So if you feel deeply triggered by something or someone, instead of thinking, oh no, this is a negative emotion, I must ignore it, I must push it down, I have to be positive, put on a smiling face in this situation in order to be spiritual, that is 100% incorrect. And it's actually teaching you to deny yourself your truth and what you're really feeling. So instead, you have to dig into that negative emotion. When you feel it, when you get triggered by someone or something, take that as an opportunity to journal about it or meditate on it later, or do whatever shadow work practice you have to do to really feel that trigger and feel, why is this triggering me? Why is this bothering me? So that's going to help you grow. You're going to heal and remove that trigger from your body, remove that trauma, and you will over time grow and develop to where these triggers don't come up for you anymore, and you can actually become naturally happier and more positive as you overcome and learn about life and learn about how to handle it and heal from your past. So let's talk about some examples of toxic positivity. Let's say you're angry and upset about something, and someone says, cheer up, it's gonna be fine, you're fine, just put a smile on your face and get over it. Or maybe you are having a difficult situation or a difficult relationship and you're trying to get through it, and maybe someone says to you, it could be worse, look at all the other people and their problems, your problem is very minimal, just cheer up, lighten up, it's not a big deal. Laugh or smile, or it's not that bad, or be ignored or perhaps abandoned temporarily, like punishment. If you're going to be angry, then I'm going to be leaving and I will not deal with your anger. I will not entertain anything negative. You're basically being told that your emotion is invalid. It's not valid, it's not real, it's not important, and it should be brushed off. And what that does to someone is it separates them from themselves. So if you're a young child and you're being told to cheer up all the time whenever you're angry, or you're being ditched and abandoned if you're upset for some reason, You learn that you're not supposed to feel those emotions, and you suppress them even more because it is inconvenient for the person it is directed to. And as a child, you really need to have your feelings validated. All that does is it allows and enables the person to continue their behavior without getting any consequence or any repercussions from your anger, from you complaining, or you having a problem with them, because you're not allowed to have a problem with them. You're not allowed to be angry. You're not allowed to complain. And that's very, very unhealthy for you. And it also makes the other person not have to grow either. So I'm not trying to demonize people who do this, because I myself have done this in my relationships. On my YouTube channel in the past, I have done this. I have said good vibes only, talked about how important it is to be positive and stop getting triggered and things like that. But now I realize that you have a right to your emotions. So I have had a lot of relationships, or even just encounters with people who are working on their spirituality, and there's an idea of staying away from negativity and protecting your good vibes, protecting your vibes from negative people. So this is where it gets a little bit tricky, because yes, you do want to protect yourself from negative vibes. You do want to, maintain your own power and not get sucked into a never-ending toxic relationship full of complaining, where someone is literally just spewing complaints at you all the time. They're always angry, they're always upset, they're never happy, and they're stuck in that negative mindset. That's not healthy either. But at the same time, just because someone is complaining or upset at a given moment does not mean necessarily that you should cut them off 100%, that they're a toxic person, they're bad, protect yourself, or they're going to stunt your spiritual growth because their negative vibes are going to get onto you. In order to be in your own power and be a truly spiritual person, you have to be able to deal with life. And, not everyone always is going to be 100% positive and happy. And not every situation is going to be 100% whatever you want it to be. So you can either hermit yourself and put up these walls and say, I'm not going to allow any negativity in. I don't want any negative vibes. Positive vibes only. If you complain or say anything angry, then you're suddenly a lesser spiritual being, or you're lesser on your spiritual journey. And that is also very biased and very misleading, because we do have negative emotions. We do have all sorts of emotions. And if we can learn to embrace them and deal with them properly, then we will heal and we will grow and we will get the wisdom that we need from these negative emotions and from our past. And if we are constantly blocking negative emotions or negative people, then you're blocking your own ability to interact with or handle these situations. As I grew older, if I would complain or get angry to a friend or someone, in my life, I would always fear abandonment. I would fear that, oh no, if I dare get angry, or if I dare speak up for myself, or if I have anything negative to say, or if I confront them on anything, they might abandon me because I'm not being positive, because I'm making them uncomfortable. And that's something that I learned from a very young age. You don't want that in a relationship. You don't want someone who's going to force you to be positive if you're going through something. If you are healing from the past, or if you've been triggered and a childhood wound is coming up, or if you're just having a bad day, You don't want to have someone in your life discounting that and telling you to be positive because it's going to make them leave or make them uncomfortable if you have your genuine experience. It's just sad to think about. And vice versa, you also don't want to be that person who invalidates someone else and says, you're not allowed to be negative. I'm going to shun you, 100% ignore anything that you have to say unless it is 100% positive and uplifting. So if you are dealing with someone who's going through a rough time, it's easy to run away. It's easy to cut them off. It's easy to say, oh gosh, no negative vibes here. Positive vibes only. I'm not going to deal with this person. Or you can foster and cultivate your empathy and tell them, your feelings are valid. You have a right to go through what you're going through. It's okay that you're upset. It's okay that you're in pain. If you need anything, I'm here for you. You're on your growth journey. Keep working through this emotion and you're going to get to the other side. You might tell them, yeah, that does sound very difficult. I'm sorry for what you're going through. I know that you can make it through this. I know you're strong. I know that you're going to find a lot of wisdom and growth through this process and you're going to get through to the other side. Let me know if you need anything. Or even just let them talk to you, You don't have to shut them down just because they're angry or if they're hurting. And yeah, that's just part of the human experience, is facing your emotions and allowing others to have their own emotions. Obviously, you don't want to get sucked into whatever they're dealing with for too long. So you don't want to become overwhelmed by them and their emotions to the point where it brings you into their state of being. But you can still be there to support them when you can, and then step outside and go do something else that you need to do for your own personal growth. Because guess what? Through the pain and through these difficult topics and difficult conversations is wisdom and is growth. And it's hard sometimes to face the inner demons and the inner work and the inner shadows of yourself. It is very difficult, but that's where the growth comes. The growth doesn't come from denying or dismissing or running away from the difficult emotions. And so if you're getting triggered by things that I say on this channel, or if you're getting triggered by experiences that you're having in your own life, that's actually a good thing, because that gives you the first step to going deeper with that trigger and really uncovering it and really uncovering why you're getting triggered. What is the root of that and where does that come from? And as you do that, you heal, you grow, you expand, you become happier naturally. So yes, you can be optimistic, you can have hope, and you can feel like, yes, I'm on the right track, even through my negative emotions, even through my pain, even through my anger. I am growing and I am working toward being better and being more whole and complete on my journey. And that's great to have that hope and that optimism. You don't want to dwell in your anger. You don't want to dwell in your grief or your sorrow or your fear. You want to face it head on, deal with it, do the shadow work, and move forward. And that is where you become empowered, because you're not running from it, but you're also not getting stuck in it. You're pushing through it and coming out to the other side, where you will naturally become more whole and complete and at peace with yourself and others. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, remember, you are so powerful. Bye, guys.